it makes a distinction between inside and outside.
So raising consciousness is puffing. Raising consciousness is puffing.
Is puffing, yeah, in a sense. Well, raising or lowering. The distinction between inside and outside, again, what is it? I'm going to get ahead of myself. It's our hand. Our hand bridges between inside and outside, between conscious will and physics. Rabbi Kaplan here, if this is marked to the right place. Yes. Thank God, place marker is correct for change. Even verticals can happen in lectures. Kaplan, quoting traditional sources, says the only link between nonverbal wisdom, Chachma in Hebrew, and verbal understanding, Bina, the builder, the outside, consists of the letters of the alphabet. So now we're getting a sense of what this alphabet was intended to do. To bridge between heaven and earth. Between the transcendence one can reach in meditation on the spiritual sun, the transcendent God, and the physical universe ruled by the sun god, Apollo, the pagan, the materialist, the projected. So the alphabet is the means of projecting the transcendent into the physical. It's the means by which God projects the universe from his will of creation. It's the means by which we project our incarnation from our birth consciousness when we're born. I'm getting ahead of myself. I want to get back to that. All right, so the first thing we found is that the first person, Genesis, makes smoke rings in the cosmic jello. When I open it up, it's cross-sections are not circular, they're elliptical. And in the middle, there would be seeds. In fact, this is making me think of the additional discussion in the introduction to the Zohar, which I shouldn't have closed because I should refer to it again. Maybe I should find it again. Where did I mark it? Here it is. Okay, now continuing, he says, the word lily symbolizes the congregation of Israel. It has 13 leaves surrounding it on all sides. We can take this to be our apple also. The center sphere is the seeds, and the 12 around form a spherical shell, which is the fruit. He says, for this reason, the lily symbolizes the cup of blessing, as there are 5 words between the second and third Elohim mentioned in the book of Genesis. One of these words is or, meaning light. This light was treated and became enclosed as an embryo in the covenant, and entering into the lily as a principle of life made it fruitful, and this is what is called in Scripture fruit tree, according to Genesis. Fruit tree, yielding fruit whose seed is in itself. And as this light principle entering into the covenant caused itself to become manifested in 42 kinds of secondary matter, so has it produced the Shem HaMephorish, the great ineffable divine name of God, composed of 42 letters which operate in the creation of the world. It just happens to turn out that if you were to put another layer of spheres on top of these, the next layer would be 42. Here it is. And so what we're going to see next is that our apple here can be thought of as a fruit tree yielding fruit whose seed is in itself. How so? Well, let's make a little expansion here. We have to back up a bit because I'm about to tell you something. These 2 donut forms, which are made up of these 7 colors, have 2 different ways of organization. One of them has 3 turns around the hole for each one turn through it, and the other one has 3 loops through the hole for each one turn around. If we throw away the donut and just keep these guys, to mathematicians, this is the important part. To philosophers, this is the important part. We're not making physical donuts. This is conceptual. This is what's left. If we cut it in half, for reasons which are complicated to explain now, but basically when you get an asymmetrical form, this is the kind of symmetry to it. By the way, this is the form that generates the Greek letters. It looks a little more like a discus than the Hebrew narrative form. The Greeks were into that. But of course, the Greeks also handed off off the Olympic torch. Handed off the torch. This looks a little like a flame, doesn't it? See the flame shape? Torah was written, this is a finger model. The Torah is written by the finger of God in fire. There's the flame, there's the finger. So wait, it's one finger. There's the flame. In the Muslim tradition, the Arabic letters are said to derive from the second letter of the second surah of the Quran, and the super letter La, and La also means flame. In Hebrew, the letters are written in flaming fire on the tablets of Moses. Fire and flame also. We'll do more with that. Now, if this form then is representing our donuts, it could also represent our apples. This vortex form defines the apple. And if so, then this would be where the star of seeds is in the middle of the apple, a 5-pointed star of seeds, not a 6-pointed star, 5-pointed star. This little vortex part represents the fruit tree. See how it blossoms out. And this out here, the fullness of the fruit. And so we have a fruit tree, yielding fruit, growing into fruit, whose seed is in itself. And so that was our second identification. This is the first verse of Genesis. Grows the apple, the sacred fruit, the first fruit, the fruit of temptation, if you will. There's also an apple-shaped fruit that's formed of the ashes used on the altar in Solomon's temple, which is not being done anymore. And they call it an apple. The word in Hebrew for apple is puach. And if we look on our alphabet charts later, we'll find out that puach means to puff through itself. Literally. So our second identification of the first verse of Genesis is that it produces this apple form. And here it is again. This is showing a double form. I literally just wrote out the stages in the growth of the fruit tree on the vortex that defines the fruit. So the center is a star of seeds. It's also the sun and the earth. Here we have the stem, the trunk, the sprout. Here are the leaves and branches. Here it buds out. Here's the fullness of the fruit. Here's the flowering. Here's where the seeds fall back to the earth. And the petals of the flower fall back to the earth. The petals fall in God, and the seeds hit fertile ground and are reborn and start over again. Fruit tree yielding fruit with seeds in itself. Now, if there were a 5-pointed star here of seeds, and since this is a crescent-shaped form, we would have the Muslim star and crescent. We'd also have Aladdin's lamp. Just to reflect. In the story of Exodus, Moses has to get some craftsmen together to build the tabernacle. And he calls for the people who are the highest workers in gold and silver and brass. Now, we haven't done the alphabet chart yet, and we definitely want to do that. So you'll have to get ahead of the game and go through the analysis of it for you. Now, clearly in the physical world, we're talking about craftsmen who are going to build an art box. That's the story. And we know they built an art box. No problem with that. But at the spiritual level, we're not talking about something physical. We're talking about spiritual gold, spiritual silver, and spiritual brass. And so we have to look at the letters to see what those words might mean. Let me ask you this. This is a good chance for everyone to get involved. I would like people to suggest to me, in the ancient world, something that is golden. What golden thing associated with life would have been known in the ancient world? And in modern world, too. Suggestions?
Sun.
The sun, good. Anything else? It's important.
The sun, honey.
Honey? I hadn't thought of honey. I don't even know how that fits in. I think about that. That's a good one. Anybody else? An apple's not all golden. Grain is golden. Grain, seed is golden. Let's see. The tip here is a golden point. Look at the Hebrew word for gold. Zahab. Zion, hay, day. Zion, from the word zarah, meaning to grow or seed, means Zion really means a weapon or a spear or projection. Something that sprouts, that grows. It's cognate to the English letter G. Go, grow. Hay in Hebrew is like this. It's got an inside and an outside. For you, it's inside and outside. Connecting inside and outside. Beit. In itself. What grows, connects inside and outside, and is self-contained. The seed. So that's what that kind of goal is in a spiritual sense. Something that has the ability to propagate, to reach for the sun. The spiritual sun. What is silver? Silver in Hebrew is kesed. Means money now. Kaf in Hebrew, literally letter kaf, means palm. And sof is our good old aim sof, the creation stuff, the fullness of the universe. Here's my palm, and this is the fullness of the fruit. It's infinitely far from its seed, conceptually, right? Fruit is a whole generation from the seed. It's infinitely far. So kesef, silver, is this part. This outer part is kesef, it's in my palm. And it's far from the seed. And what is brass or copper, which is the third component that we have to have craftsmen in? Well, I can't get the pronunciation right because I only see the letters. Nefesh, composed of the word nachash, and a final T. The T at the end means itself, so it doesn't really enter into the root that strongly. Nachash is the word used in the Genesis story for the serpent. That's the same. The serpent, the attractor, the allure. What draws the seed out into the fruit? It's the seed reaches for the sun. It is attracted. Mathematically, it's like an attractor, chaotic attractor. You reach for it. This is the seducer that seduces the seed into growing into a fruit. And it's the connector, the serpent that connects between the sun and the moon, between the heaven and the earth, between the transcendent and the physical, between the potential and the manifest. And so, on one hand, Moses is calling for craftsmen to build the tabernacle. On the other hand, he's calling for people who know the projective principle needed to reach from consciousness into physics and back. So that's our next level, our app. Excuse me. There we go. Please stay in touch. We won't be alone. That's just facade. Sit down. Okay, shall we have a break here? Can I do one last little piece of it? Okay. It'll take a minute. How much do we have for breaks in?
We've got a total of half an hour.
Okay, well, I'll just this we finish up and then we'll have our break. It doesn't take much, it's only a minute. This same idea of projecting from inside where the seed is to outside in a fruit is, again, what I'm saying is a hand. I just want to show you where the hand comes from and then we can take a break. When we take our vortex forms and we put them on the real apple, like this is this one on here, made minimal way, it should go around the top and spiral in and like drill in holes. We find that these three sections, which are produced by this minimum form, take the shape of a human hand. It's like holding a bowling ball or a Olympic football or American football or a bowling ball. You thumb down in here and you grip. And so these three outlines are three hands. And the Kabbalah say that there are three hands. There's a right hand, a left hand, and a strong hand. When you catch a ball, you pull it against your body. You have a right hand, a left hand, and then your strong hand is the rest of you. You remember God with your spine. Okay, the break is suggested. Are there any questions before we break? We will start after the break, going through the alphabet and the meditation. And I think maybe we'll leave the last section for more of the details and for some of the technical stuff, because that's what people are going to further down anyway. Questions?
You said that the center of the apple was the 5-pointed star.
Mm-hmm.
Is the fruit 6-pointed star?
Mm-hmm. Not quite, but close to it. Yeah. This is, you see the 6-pointed star. This is these are equivalents. Okay? Let me show you more detail if you want. Any other questions now?
Yeah, I have a question about the rate of time, because the forest has splits around itself, others goes more rapidly, the vortex half goes in, has more spin.
Right.
So that'll come up, I reckon.
That's right, it does indeed. In fact, let me be really gross and go out on a limb here. I'm not only going to say this is the apple of Eve. I'm going to say this is Newton's apple. Sir Isaac Newton, the discoverer of the laws of motion and gravitation, attributed his discoveries in his writings to his studies of the text of Genesis. Got thrown out of Trinity College for doing it too, because Christian authorities that were running the college didn't like that kind of stuff. This form is specified by the laws of motion. I haven't got that analytically finished yet, but basically there is a uniform expansion this way, a uniform rotation, a linear conservation of angular momentum this way, and in the inverse square law up and down. So this is the gravitational axis, and this is conservation of angular momentum. And so you get a combination of constant, linear, and square law. 3 levels, of course. All of these come in 3s. Everything comes in 3s here. Why 3s? Very fundamentally basic. Let me finish that. It's easy. It takes 3 to establish any full cycle. If you want to specify a circle, you have a theater marquee, and you have lights flashing. If you only have 2 lights flashing, it looks just like a line. But if you have 3 lights that chase each other, you see a circle. It takes 3 points to determine the diameter of a circle, determine a circle, a cycle, any kind of cycle. And that's also why we get these threefold patterns there for the subtle reasons for children. Any other questions?
We combine it to the structure of the body. We combine it to the structure of the body.
Yes, but I'm probably not going to get to that a little bit. I've only just started mapping some of the body. I'm doing this in a very mathematical way. So I don't have a lot to tell you about that, but I'm almost certain that has to be the case. You can see it in the sense because you see the body models the same thing. There were 12 or 13, depending on how you count them, junctions in the human body from the tip of the toe to the tip of the finger. Each of these sections or each of these joints, including the head, neck, jaw stuff, you get this 12, 13 kind of growth effect also. And of course, the mind is the fruit of the body. Is the other way, the seed of the body. Yes, you see, the mind projects the body. So the mind is the center point of the 13, and the body is what's projected from it. Because our physicality, according to this theory, is projected from our consciousness.
Maybe this is the gold, and this is the serpent, and this is...
Yeah. So you can do that. And the traditional Kabbalists do these mappings of the tree of life and the body, and these forms we're talking about. My understanding of the tree of life is this. These are the 12. These are the 10. We can talk about that later too after the break if you want to ask that in camera. Anything else? We're all looking glassy eyed. Am I going too far? Anybody not following at all?
It's not what I said.
It does.
No, just a lot to know, that's all I need.
Oh, this is fun. So I'm going to not prevent me from going into any more detail. I do want to show you all these beautiful toys that I made, and I have a lot of time in them, and they do all kinds of neat things, you know, everything opens up and whirls around and all that kind of stuff. But what's, I think it'll be much more understandable and that you can leave with is some sense of what these letters mean and where the meanings come from. And so I want to do that for the next section. And that's what we'll do there. Okay? Great?
We need to figure out how long.
Good. What is this? Various suggestions. Let's assume an hour and if
Wait,
it's...
no, this is just a break.
It's not lunch? It's
I
not.
don't know.
Why don't you find out tomorrow? All right, I have another question. We can write it when we can whatever. See what that's going to just do a little bit here from there. I was saying to some folks earlier, when we were drifting in, that I'm working with Hebrew, Western tradition. The Hebrew alphabet has either 22 or 27 letters, depending on which alphabet you're counting. Full alphabet is 27. It turns out in the Eastern tradition, there is a mandala creation called the Sri Yantra, which many of you have seen, which is 9 interlaced triangles. If you pull it out into 3 dimensions, it would look like this. You probably, many of you will recognize it. Well, 9 triangles have 27 edges. That's the same model. And we can go into that in more detail later.
Okay,
Yes?
how about a short break now and then maybe another hour and then lunch break?
Okay, short break. How much is a short break? 15, 20?
Yeah, 10, 15 minutes, enough for people to get juice and stretch.
Good idea.
Use the
Okay.
restroom if you need.
So it's about 5 minutes after 12, maybe about 20 after 25 after 12.
There's some juice and some mineral water over here. on Sunday, but there are liable to be other social
We can talk about that. Look at something like that.
Jongens, er is hier. Hallo? Daar staat drank en staat bekertjes, want wat de volgens normaal is dicht, maar dit is gratis, dus zijn mensen die een ijsje willen tegen de hitte? Ja.
And so we end up with exactly that. You know how art is 7 layers, and they're all lounges like this also, and they form, and then the extensions to 10 hands. That's exactly the same as here. You see. There are 7 radii, but there are 10 feathers. Because 3 radii are bidirectional, according to the symmetry axis. If you play with the models, be careful with them, they're fragile, and also they're like babies, so I don't lose them.
Question about the body.
Yeah, maybe I will try to get that. I haven't done that before. There is some embryology that we can do, and there's some other fiber projection.
He said yes.
Dat staat daar niet op.
Thank you.
Everything what's here comes from the revenue.
That's wonderful. Hotheads these days are still. Yeah. That's fine. This is more than anything else.
Comes from the revenue.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's true. It'll make us sick.
I'm trying to keep my energy up. I've got to apply more lectures in London next week.
Nee, dat zijn de dingen die er dus allemaal niet zijn.
Kan iemand de video weer afzetten? We gaan weer verder. Ik heb even gecheckt. We zijn inderdaad, de keuken is niet open. Broodjes. Voorkeur, kaas, ham, gezond. Wat broodjes gezond?
Kaas,
Gezond. Oké, alle broodjes. Ja?
Oké.
En dan wil ik het nog een keer zeggen. Interrumperen als het lang draagt, als je dingen niet begrijpt. Ga de discussie aan. Dat maakt het leuk. Anders is het een eenzijdige stroom van informatie waar je absoluut in ondergaat.
I think we just handed out some little drawings before we actually start what to say. This guy, with his instructions, is a meditation diagram which you can play with. In my experience, it is very powerful for getting you out of body and visual meditation. And the instructions for it are suggestions. You can try anything else that works. By the way, it's just 4 levels of circles, and they are packed. 4 levels, remember the 4 levels of the Torah, and they are packed just like these sphere packs, as tight as they can be. So that's something to play with. Be careful. Also, I've been asked about body connections, and again, before I really get started, I want to provide one connection that's very quick. The way these 4, everything on this table is one thing. There's only one object on the table. It's just sliced up over time. It's like an embryonic growth, because it's not in order. You get a mess. So it's just like acorns and oak trees don't look the same. These models all look different, but they're all different aspects of the tree of life, of one living thing. Now, they open up in a very interesting way. These forms all spiral and unfurl. And if you look at this guy, you can see how the tetrahedron can twist itself apart and widen and broaden. These are the arms of the universe that go to infinity in the probabilistic sources. But this looks very complicated and very mathematical, and what the hell is he doing? And it's got to do with hyperdimensional spheres and all of that. Oh, and by the way, speaking of hyperdimensional spheres, as soon as I show you this, I want to show you a hyperdimensional sphere, and then we'll do the calculus. This guy, which looks complicated and very mathematical, is nothing other than the opening in a martial arts exercise where you pull your arms and rotate apart, except it's being done in three directions at once. So that's one physical connection. These three loops, again showing how this opening takes place, are the same as the three loops here, or the three loops here, or the three loops if you want to do it this way. And by the way, if anybody wants to ask you where the heart is in all of this, well, look at the heart shapes. All of these vortex forms have heart shapes through the middle. See, in this section here. And there's another, this is one of these three. See the heart sitting, it got a little bashed by the airline. There's a lot there. The hyperdimensional sphere. You know how mathematicians make hyperdimensional cubes. We've all seen them. It's called a tesseract or a hypercube. You make a cube, and you put a little cube inside, and you connect up the corners. I think most of you have seen that drawing. Putting a little cube inside of a big cube is a way to make a hypercube. Putting a little sphere inside of a big sphere makes a hypersphere. Putting a little sphere inside of a big sphere, an apple, is a hypersphere, if you allow for the projection of its seeds into its fruit as the hyperdirection, the time direction sometimes. So if anybody ever asks you if you can show them a hypersphere, point to an apple. Okay. Now what I want to do is the meditation that displays the letters to show you how it maps onto the body and gives meaning to the letters in the 22-letter alphabet mapped onto the linear form of the body. And then we're going to go and look at the 27 letters mapped onto the idealized hypersphere, the fertilized egg. That's going to grow into the body. Okay? So I think I'll stand away from the table so that I can be seen. I don't know if that camera's on, but a little close up here. Can you deal with this?
Just.
Okay. This is a right-handed model, and this is a left-handed model. The rabbi has left, but some of you probably know that Orthodox Jews, when they pray, put on blackers to fill it, which are little boxes that you bind on your arm and on your hand and on your forehead. Well, you bind it on your hand, this is bound on the hand. And because you can see your hand in your mind's eye, it is also bound on your forehead, on your mind. And because the hands are an extension of the heart chakra, it's also bound on your heart, on your body. And in fact, if you look at these forms in pairs, there's again your heart forms. And of course, the heart muscle is literally 7 layers of muscle wound like this. So we really got all models at the same time. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my hands in a sequence of gestures, which I did Friday, I think also. When I say a letter, I can see the outline of that letter off of this chart in my right hand. If you could crawl around, look through my left hand into my eye, you would see the letter in my left hand. So this one is for me and this one's for you. Each letter corresponds to a particular gesture. In general meaning, the gesture is the meaning of the name of the letter. And then we're going to find that those letter meaning names can be used to decipher words in just about any language if you know the phonetic correspondences. Now, if you don't know the phonetic correspondences, you may need to do yourself. So I really only know English and a little Hebrew, so I can't do it with a lot of languages, but we have tried and plan to challenge by people who know other languages and we play with it. Again, this is work in progress. I don't want to make it too strong a claim. Also, when you translate words, you can't get the idiomatic meaning. That's asking an awful lot. You get the operational meaning. For instance, the word Sabbath only means the 7th day of the week if you understand the model of 601, with the Sabbath being the still center in the middle. This is the Sabbath point in the middle. But you couldn't get that from the word. Sabbath means to sit within yourself. It means to meditate. That you can get. So I'm going to tell you the name of the letter. I'm going to tell you what the letter means, and I'm going to show you the gesture, and I'm going to go through the motion. And we're going to get 22 meanings arrayed on body gestures, and then we're going to expand that with the 5 final letters that are said to redeem the alphabet, to cause the redemption. It's not so sure it's about the alphabet. On the full system. Now the relationship is simple. The 22 letters refer to the body as it is mature and grown. The 27 letters, the define the surface of an idealized hypersphere, a fertilized egg. An egg with a sperm inside, outside sphere. Olive means everything, all, pointing to my solar plexus. The distinction between inside and outside is like birthing, and the baby is in my hands. Gimel, camel, means action. Camel goes back and forth between oases in the desert. So gimel is a kind of rotating motion, action. Dalet means to divide, means to pour down, to be poor. This is dalet. People who know Hebrew should be able to see a dalet there. Dalet. Pouring down, dividing. Hay, the frame, means a window. I can see a hay right there. You should be able to see it also. Vav means a pin. I take that to be the spine. It's just this vertical section over the spine. Zion is an arrow or a spear. It means to project. And there's Zion right there. Those who know the Rashi letters will see a Zion. It's right over there. It's behind itself. Het means to encircle or to encompass. Hut, het. It's my perimeter. I can see my hands extended at the perimeter of my waist here, outside. Tet means all or complete, to hold the ball. Tet, you take this in my hand right here. Yud means a hand, that could be any place, it's just a short part, so I can't really tell you which part is Yud, except it's in between Tet and Kuf. Tet and Kuf. Kuf means the palm, and there's the Kuf sitting right there. Lamed means to learn. Lamed reflects. The light will reflect directly into my eyes. So when I point it directly at me, I will see a lamed right here. You can see the lamed standing there. Lamed. Meru means source or from or out of. The source of speech is the throat. The only place you can see the Nen shape when it's in your hand without breaking the wrist off is here at your throat. Nun means a net, a connector, a nexus. And so nun is like this. You can see the nun in the arch here. Sama means to support or sustain. Sama, cradling. And Sama is in my hand. Ayin means eyes. I see an ayin when I put my hands up to my eyes. You'll see the ayin like that. Like blinders on a horse. Ayin. K means mouth. It's the only place you can see the K is with your thumbs in your mouth. K also means the top. You can see it. Side means righteousness, clean hands. Showing you the back of my hands so you can tell that I'm righteous. Like that. Kuf is a monkey. We went to the zoo yesterday, walking around outside. It was the only thing we could do. You can see the monkeys dangling from the tree limbs. Kuf, monkey. I figure it looked like a monkey, whether that or not. Reish is the head or to radiate. There are the rays, the ratios on my forehead. A little like Moses' description. Horns, rays, forehead. Sheen is a tooth, toothy grin, a shine. Sheen blocks the sunshine or radiates from my throat, from my head. Sheen, I can see the sheen in my hands. And Tav means itself or myself. I come back down here and look at myself. So it's Aleph, Beit, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zion, Het, Tet, Yud, Vav, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samet, Ayin, Hey, Sadi, Kuf, Reish, Shin, Tav. Some of these may be wrong. This is work in progress. Some of my motions are not as smooth as they would be if I were a meditator or a yogi or had more practice. We need to work these things out. Don't take this as the truth. Take it as an example of how it might be, and maybe you can even make it better. So let's go through the meanings. I think I did most of them. You see what I'm saying is that Aleph being all, the whole thing is the solar plexus. Beit is birthing, in the distinction between inside and outside. Gimel is action, is flipping over. Hey, Dalet, to be pour down, and divide. Hey, the frame, Vav, the pin, the spine, Zion, the projectile, gun, game, go on. You get that under the chart too. Het, English hut or hat, the thing that circles. Tet, teeth, literally, completeness. Beyond birthing, you have to wean the child, that's when it's complete. That's what a tet or a teeth is. A tie connects to the same word. Yod again is just the hand, I bring my hands forward. Yod is such a small letter, you can see it almost anywhere, so I don't know the exact gesture for that. Because I'd be phony if I told you, because I can see it any place. But it has to be between Tet and Chav, so we know approximately where it is. Chav, well, Chav shape is here, it's backwards for you, it's here. Lamed, again, I showed you, is to learn, you go towards, reflect inward, abstraction, learning. Mem, the source, the throat, the source of speech. Nun, the neck, nexus, connector. Sama, the support or sustain. Ayin, the eyes. Hey, the mouth. Sadi, the righteous person, reaching up. Zodiac, Sadi. Kuf, the monkey. Reish, the head, to radiate. Sheen, to shine. And Tav, myself or itself. Okay? I don't know if people may want to try this at some point. You want to do an exercise of it, folks? Without the model. We're going to make these models available later in the year. Hopefully they will be available. We're getting them made now. At least we've got the models for access. Clearly it would be better to be doing the gestures with the appropriate tone in the music. It would be better to not only do the hand gestures, but also have body gestures. Let me read you a quick quotation just to give you a little more context for this form, and I'll go to show you. I can find it quickly if I get it out here. Rumi, the famous Sufi poet, described the round dance. And it should be here something. And in the round dance, he describes, well, I'm not going to find it, I don't take the time. He describes a round dance with a cypress tree in the middle of a garden, of a rose garden. And again, you can see the word for rose or lily is the same in Hebrew. And so that drawing I showed you before of the lilies could also be a drawing of roses. And he talks about a waterfall or a fountain. And you can read it for yourself. I'll find it later if anybody wants to quote it. Also, brings me more traditions that I didn't mention. People are asking about astrology. Well, if I've got 3 hands, and each hand has 4 fingers and a thumb, then these can be the 4 rivers that feed the tree in the middle of the Garden of Eden. And if I have 3 of them together, then I have 12 fingers around the center, 12 knights around the round table, 12 houses, 12 apostles, 12 tribes, 12 imams. And on my right hand, it's a hand. So since it's an apple, there's a stem coming out here. So on my left hand, it's the scabbard and hilt of the sacred sword. And so I have 12 knights around King Arthur's sword, around his. We also have Plato's allegory of the cave. Here's the cave, here's the sun, here's the earth plane. I'm sorry the rabbi left. This is a far out one. There's the story of Rabbi Hillel, who was challenged to provide the essence of the Torah while he was standing on 1 foot. And so there's an anecdote about Torah on 1 foot. And the answer he gave when challenged was, if only Hillel don't do it to anyone else what you wouldn't have done to you, go and study the rest of his commentary. Well, this is not a golden mean spiral, it's a golden rule spiral. And it stands on 1 foot. Maybe. It's hard to identify this kind of thing because you can never really be sure. Same thing with Newton's apple story. It's very hard to be sure. Now I asked you all to think about the meaning of letters. And that's what I want to do next. Any questions here before we move on the movements or anything like that?
Yeah, basically one. There's something about looking at the manifestation of the symbol, and you can put it all the way out to the fingers. But the fingers are just part of the whole quality dynamism and the systems of integration, togetherness, as you have them in 3 levels and all that. This is part of functioning of interfacing at different levels. For example, in acupuncture, they work with the same interfacing, but then it would be incoming energy, outgoing energy being interfaced. But they also work with the levels of 5 bones, 4 bones, 3 bones, 2 bones, and 1 bone. And those levels of interacting are all based on these same dynamisms. So for me, I'm trying to find more of the dynamics behind it, which you're trying to put forward in the gestures of the, say, dance, which goes with the loving. But I'm sort of longing to see more of the non-physical form beyond the shapes which you put out.
I don't know how much of that I can do at this point without going out on limbs that I'm not sure of. Other than the most important thing about acupuncture you didn't mention, and that is the meridians are laid out on each person by the measure of their own hand. That's the hand is the measure of the whole system. Yeah.
To the different measures of different parts of the body, so
it's not the whole system. The 22 letters lay out, I think you have those charts, on this linear form. And one can consider this unit of DNA, this is what Mr. Fuller's model again, of 11 tetrahedra. Yes?
So, you say, I cannot answer this question because I'm going out of things I'm not very sure of. But what's the problem with that?
Well, I just don't feel that I should say things that I have a reasonable confidence to correct. I mean, there are a lot of things that can be said, and I think that it doesn't serve to... I've seen a lot of different arrangements of how this is projected onto the body, and I'm just not satisfied myself as to which ones are the ones that should be used for this. So, I can show you what I have, which is basically what I'm going through, but yeah, I really...
Well, maybe it's easier to look at it the other way around. That the body and the gestures of the body are just manifestations of this underlying process, which also leads to forms like
yes, definitely. And what I was saying is it should be on multiple levels. There are hand gestures which I'm showing you, but I don't have the body gestures worked out. You can make different letters. Here, I'll give you an example. What I don't want to do. If you look at some of these older, it's not on this chart. Well, there's an older version of the letters, the Canaanite letters, the old Hebrew alphabet, which are more stick-looking. When I was going through doing these hand meditations, the hand motions for the letters, I was beginning to notice that in most cases, the articulation between the hand, the arm, and the body made the older letter shape, whereas the hand made the new letter shape. But it wasn't distinct enough that I could be sure of whether it's true or not, or which one was which. So I can tell you that in principle, but I can only encourage you to do it yourself. This is a self-organizing system. If you pick up the thread any place and pull on it slowly, it will lead you to the next place. So I don't necessarily want to give you what I think about having on the body. If you start to do the hand gestures, I think you'll find very quickly you're going to be forced to see the corresponding body motions. And you probably know more than I do here. So maybe you might want to suggest some yourself. We'll see. Anything else before I do the other part here? I would like to give some sense of this model, this system that I've got laid out, which is on the tape. Because it also shows how you connect a kind of archetypal embryonic organization to these meanings. There's a mathematician in the United States who worked for years on helicopters, made a lot of money, and opened something called the Institute for the Study of Consciousness in Berkeley, named Arthur M. Young. And he has a theory, his book's called Reflexive Universe, excellent book. He lays out a theory of process based on 7 stages and 7 programs on the donut. And his theory is very elaborate, very well done, and connects to quantum theory and everything. Basically, what Arthur says is that all processes have 7 stages, and these outer titles are his. He gives several different versions. He says they always organize the same way. You start with a goal that you want, and you finish up with its attainment. You get to your goal because you move. You're attracted. There's some sort of charge that attracts you. And the inverse of that is what leads you to the attainment. So you project the goal, you move towards it, it takes on its own center, it recreates its own seed, if you will. Here it grows off the seed. And then in the middle, Arthur says, there's this turn, this transcendental turn. This is an involution, this is an evolution, if you will. It's just, again, like a donut. All he's really saying is that you can take these 7 colored regions in order, and you can fall through them. And what I noticed is that you can take Arthur's 7 stages, which I've got little pictures for here, breaking open, action itself, division, opposite, closure, projection, and multiplication. And between action and projection is coaction, acting together. And I suspended them all between unity and wholeness, between the seed and the fruit. Because Arthur is dealing with the vortex form, the nachash, the snake. And I'm saying the snake is the attractor that connects the seed to the sun, or the sun to the seed, or the seed to the fruit, whatever they lead the whole thing. And so you really have 9 levels. 7 suspended between seed and fruit, between the head and the body, between the point sphere and the sphere point. And then you can take that sequence of meaning, opening, action, division, coaction, multiplication, projection, closure, and wholeness. And you can do it, I've got 2 versions here, and this 3-level torus, 3 sections inside of each other, which is like a Penrose twister. 3 toruses inside each other. And then I've opened them up here so it's easier to see in this menorah form in these 3 levels.